Friday afternoon. Hello there. Good afternoon and welcome to The Pulse. We're coming to you live from our studios here in Accra. We're on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air. You can get us live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is JoyNews, independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon on The Pulse, National Communications Authority faces fresh legal tussles over the re-registration of SIM cards. This afternoon, high life musician and political activist Kwame A+ is asking the Supreme Court to order for government to suspend the deadline for registration until such a time that the National Identification Authority is able to issue Ghana cards to all citizens. We'll explore the demand shortly. Meanwhile, Esla Osuekofo, who is the sector minister, is of the view that she's not in charge of issuing Ghana cards.
Who have obtained quick loans from their service providers have decided not to register their SIMs to avoid repaying those loans.
And the minority has a position on this. We'll get that for you shortly. Also this afternoon, the National Association of Small-Scale Miners is mounting pressure on government to crack down on foreign nationals engaged in illegal mining. It comes in the wake of the arrest of Aisha Huang, a Chinese national accused of engaging in illegal mining. Meanwhile, in the wake of fears of a possible diplomatic row, the Chinese ambassador to Ghana has spoken on a lot of issues, indicating that they are committed to ensuring that government's developmental agenda is on course. We'll get you the reaction shortly. And officially, all flags of Ghana will fly at half-mast. That's the directive from President Akufo-Addo in honor of Queen Elizabeth II, as tributes continue to pour in for the English monarch. We have details of that directive. This is The Pulse, brought to you by Global Communities Digni Lu Affordable Safe Sanitation. Remember, this afternoon we're streaming live on YouTube and all of our social media handles. It's at JoyNews on TV. Be my guest. I am Blessed Sogah, and welcome to The Pulse. And this afternoon, popular high-life musician and political activist Kwame A+ has filed a suit in court asking the Supreme Court to bar the National Communications Authority from blocking all SIM cards of Ghanaians who have not been able to re-register their SIM cards until such a time where the National Identification Authority is able to issue the Ghana cards to all citizens. JoyNews can independently verify that close to 800,000 Ghanaians who have duly registered for their Ghana cards have no access to the identification chips owing to inefficiencies of the National Identification Authority. In fact, there were chaotic scenes earlier today at registration centers where customers stormed the office because their SIM cards, which they claim to have duly registered, have been blocked. Michael Niashale was there and has a cap of all the matters.
Around 9:30. I don't even know what is going on because some people are crossing the queue, so we are here, we don't know, and they'll close around 4, so we don't know our fate, whether we can be registered or we'll go and come back tomorrow. So we don't know, we are around, we don't know what they will say. We don't know whether they will close around 4 or maybe they will buy time for us to. I had to register because my SIM have been blocked. I can't make call unless maybe I receive call.
I'm here to register my SIM. Up to now, I'm on the queue, and those who are registered, they are not many. There are 3 people. Later, 2 people went. It left 1 person, and we are all sit wait under the queue. So a lot of people have been coming and go back. They said they will be back because a lot of people lost their card. A lot of people don't have card. A lot of people did the card, they couldn't get it. So why not to the HI to give the machine to MTN? Any person who lost his card, when you push your finger on the system, they say that they register the person. Simple. And they need more people to register. And they're also from Monday to Friday. Why not Saturday and Sunday? And they should employ a lot of people, the workers, to do the thing for Ghanaians. And we left Ghanaians and so far. Why?
I'm very mad, seriously. I'm among the first people who registered. For over 2 years now, my card is not being validated. I've been going up and down. When you go to this office, they say go here, go there. And right now, you've blocked me from getting access. Why? Why should that happen? Why should that happen? The foundation is not good. the foundation of Ghana card is no good. It's not that people don't want to register, but then we don't get access to it. My brothers are not having theirs. So how can they link the Ghana card to their SIM card? You see, it doesn't make sense in Ghana here. One person will just decide for us what to do. Which doesn't make sense. For 2 years now, my brother, I've been going up and down just to get my card validated for 2 years. And all, like, to my surprise, this morning, my number has been blocked. Fourth reason, if they should have access, we should get access to do this. It wouldn't be a problem for us.
MTN, they need to process things up. They need to employ people to go houses to houses and then, to register people. People need not to come here and then waste their time. Oh, it's nonsense. Ending up with nothing. You understand? So we need to talk to the information minister and then talk to the MTN people to know how to do with the citizens of Ghana. Anytime I step to the office whereby I'm trying to register my SIM or whatever, people are here, cloud and things. So I need to go back to my website and then, so on process, I see all these kind of things, we need to shut it up and then employ people. If you want to register your SIM and register your customers, employ people to houses and then they can register customers. In within some few seconds, they can finish with that. For wasting our time here, all is nonsense.
Well, so these are some of the concerns of Ghanaians. Well, the latest that we're getting on this is that Kwame A+ is heading to court over the issue, and very soon A+ will be joining his advisor to have a conversation on this. But first, let me bring in our court correspondent, Josepha Kable, who's been monitoring the demands. At least 6 of them we're learning of. Joe, welcome to the Pulse. Let's start off with the immediate demands by Kwame A+, and we'll be having excerpts of that on your screens right now. But take us away and explain the exact demands being made by Kwame A+. Joseph, you would have to unmute so we can get the points you're making, and just explain to us exactly what it is that Kwame A+ is seeking to ask the court. It appears that we're having some challenges there, but let's bring you excerpts of what it is that the popular high-life musician is asking for. Excerpts indicating there, first of all, that he's seeking a declaration on a true and proper interpretation of Article 2, Article 2, Article 23, and then 296 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. He's indicating that the directive of the Minister for Communications, Mr. Eslaosu Ekuful, on Sunday, July 31st of 2022, that the first defendant will ensure that all SIM cards are not re-registered by 30th September will be blocked, while the National Identification Authority has not been able to issue the Ghana card, which is the only card to be used for the said re-registration exercise to all Ghanaians, is arbitrary, capricious, and amounts to an abuse of discretionary power, and same as unconstitutional, null, void, and of no legal effect. That's the first point of A+. He continues to indicate that he's seeking a declaration that that's on a true and proper interpretation of Article 2, 23, 296 of the 1992 Constitution, the decision on the first defendant to restrict, penalize, and prevent unregistered SIMs from undertaking certain activities, including making outgoing calls from the 5th of September 2022 and a later dated 4th of September 2022, while not all Ghanaians have issues or have actually been issued with a Ghana card for re-registration exercise, is equally arbitrary, capricious, unconstitutional, and of no legal effect. Then he's going ahead to say that based on the same articles, the defendants, which is obviously the Communications Ministry through the NTA, should be barred from blocking the SIM cards of Ghanaians who have not been able to re-register their SIM cards until such a time where the National Identification Authority is able to issue the Ghana cards to all Ghanaians. These are just excerpts of the demand being made by Kwame A+. He's joining us via Zoom now. Kwame A+, welcome to the Pulse. You'd have to, first of all, unmute for us so you can make your point. But then I just have this brief tape for you is by the Communications Minister herself, and that very address that you're referring to. She says that she's not directly in charge of issuing the Ghana card, and that for those who claim that the card is not ready, and the reason for which she has to halt the process would not be in place. I want you to listen to that, and then I'll get your response on that.
Quick loans from their service providers have decided not to register their SIMs to avoid repaying those loans. That is evil corruption, and you will be found out. The MNOs, network operators, and the NCA, and I dare say the NIA too, have all engaged additional staff, procure the necessary logistics, and are incurring significant expenses to conduct this exercise successfully. Any extension of the process increases their costs. Upon consultation with the industry, and in view of the challenges enumerated above, I have very reluctantly decided to grant a final conditional extension. The program will, and I'm choosing my words carefully, the program will be extended to 30th September to end on the anniversary of its commencement. That will give us 1 full year of SIM registration. It will be reviewed at the end of this month, and any SIM that has not been fully registered by the end of August will be barred from receiving certain services, including voice and data services. It will also be more expensive to use unregistered SIMs. The full range of punitive measures will be announced at another press briefing in September. Kindly do not blame your service provider when you suffer that fate due to your own inaction. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. I must end by reminding us all that the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization is not the supervisory ministry for the National Identification Authority, even though we collaborate and work very closely with them. My hapless self has been roundly vilified in certain quarters, particularly this past week, for Ghana card challenges, which I am not responsible for.
Well, so that's the sector minister speaking there. Kwame Platts, your thoughts?
Hello.
I'm with you.
Good. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, so I want to first of all state that this SIM card registration process is something that we have to encourage. We have to, as influential people, we have to get everybody to register because of all the issues that, especially criminal issues, tax issues that it comes with. And so it is a very, very important process. It is a very good, a great step by this government, and it is something that I support. However, one government cannot prevent people from doing one thing and punish the people for its inability to provide people with what they are supposed to get to do what they have to do. You heard her say that the NIA has engaged many staff to try and fix this situation, which means that she is admitting that the NIA is not being able to meet the demands of the people. So if the NIA cannot provide Ghana cards to people, I, for instance, have registered done my Ghana card. I have a Ghana card. Anytime I try to register, it says my Ghana card is not cannot be validated. I have the place so many times. There are just too many people, and it is not good to try and beat the queues because you are family class. So you just go and be there and wait and wait and wait, and you can't do anything about it. In fact, in your video that you just played, there's a guy who is complaining that he has been going there for 2 years. This affects productivity. To get up every morning and go to one place for 2 years. So this is not somebody who is against the process. He's somebody who has tried on so many occasions and is not being able to do it. So how then does the same government turn around and block a SIM card? This is like it is. I support the minister. I understand what she's doing. If I have the opportunity, I will, like I have now, I'll tell everybody who has a Ghana card to please go and register your SIM card. Please do. It is in your own interest. But what about those who don't have it? Go to LWAC now. There are people who are looking for replacement. So many people. It is chaotic. They cannot get it. What is today's date? In the video that you just showed, the minister said they are going to block SIM cards by 30th September.
Yeah, precisely. And in fact, the fear is that you're beginning to head to court over this just to try and ask for some extension. But the fear is, looking at the court processes, the effects of what you're seeking to do may be undermined with that deadline expiring on the 30th of September. Do you have fears that this may not be heard at the time, of course, the deadline will be implemented?
That is the avenue available to us. We have to be law abiding. We have to use the law. We have to use the courts in trying to get some of these remedies and seeking redress. It is very important. That's the avenue that is available to us, and so we are going to use that avenue so that even if her directives have been implemented, then maybe the court at a point can reverse it and say that this is what the National Communications Authority is supposed to do, ABCD. So I'm sure that it's not a fight. It's not because somebody likes the government or somebody does not like the minister. I'm not happy. I'm sure that the minister won't be happy that people's SIM cards are blocked. I'm not sure she'll be happy. I don't think it's personal. However, we must use the court. We are going to the court. Whether the process begins or not, we will still go to the court. And if she extends it by virtue of what the National Identification Authority itself has said, that it cannot provide about 2 million people with Ghana cards by December. And so it is common sense. If people need to register their SIM cards with Ghana cards, and the NIA is saying that we cannot give 2 million people cards by December. So what do? How then do you go ahead and block them? So I am very sure that they cannot go by this December deadline. But if we all sit down and say, oh, the process, by the time we get to 30th December, the court will delay, and so and so and so, that is not pressure. A pressure group is not just about demonstrating on the street. We have to put pressure on them. Now they know that this is the tangent that we are going. So they will also they will have their board meetings and all. And I'm very sure that by this process, they will extend it, or they will find a way to get to people's offices. They will find a way to get to the markets for people to be able to register. So as for the court, it depends on them. We are in court now.
In fact, one of the former NIA Executive Secretaries, Mr. Kwame Griffiths, is also joining the conversation. I'll be bringing him shortly, but A+, let's stay with you on the third point you are seeking. You are asking the courts that until such a time the NIA is able to issue the cards to all Ghanaians, we should not set the deadline. But that's as though you're saying, well, leave it open until such a time Ghanaians would find it appropriate to go and register. And going by the statistics, for instance, the last time the minister addressed us, she indicated that there was a drop, 90% drop, when the deadline was extended, the initial one in March, April to September, where we're heading to now. So don't you fear that you may create laxity in the system and that people will simply take advantage of this and not register their SIM card?
I think that government must be efficient. The government is not there for itself, it's there for the people. And so the government must be efficient. There's so much money that has been pumped into this NIA stuff. When there's election, we're able to give everybody a voter's ID card within a short period because we want people to go and vote for us. And therefore, the government must be able to give everybody a Ghana card to go and register their SIM cards. If you can give people, if you like, let's get to 2024 and you will see these same politicians giving everybody a voter's ID card. If they have the opportunity, they will give people in the mortuary voter's ID card. They can give everybody a voter's ID card. Why can't they give Ghanaians a Ghana card to go and register their SIM card? So until they are able to do that, or until they are able to prove that it is available for everybody to get, they cannot. The court must not allow them to implement their directive.
What's your ideal timeline that you're working with?
Tomorrow is next. The ideal timeline that I'm working with is the same timeline that they are able to use to give us voters' ID cards. And look, in the heat of COVID, when this whole world was at a standstill, they were able to do new voters voters ID cards in the heat of COVID. Today, you cannot give people voters ID. And you know what? You know what the problem is? It is revenue we are talking about here. At this point, we are at the IMF begging for money. And we are going to block SIM cards. And how does government get top tax? We need money in the system. So this is not just about human rights issue, but the system needs money. So if you block 2 million people from making phone calls and receiving phone calls, you know how much money the government loses? So it is not just about, so anybody who says, oh, we are not helping, we are helping the government, maybe they are not thinking in that direction, we are helping the government. And so we the timelines that I'm looking at is the exact timelines that they are able to give everybody a voter's ID, give them Ghana cards.
Why are you letting the MNOs, the mobile network operators, off the hook and not focusing on them, on the fact that they need to expand and also try and increase their frontiers to get more persons registered? Are they completely absolved of any blame in this?
How do you blame the networks? If you bring your Ghana card, they will register it for you. I've not heard of any case where somebody went with the Ghana card and the network was not able to register them. So if bringing them in is
but for instance, there are some reports that people have gone through the process and yet they are unable to make calls. For instance, the excuse is that the harmonization of the data has not been done properly, and that's why some persons are unable to make calls still.
So we are saying the same thing: the harmonization of the data. So. And I don't believe that is the fault of the network, unless the NCA can come and tell us that they have done everything. And you see, the network providers are in a contract with us. We are their customers. The government has signed a contract with us. We should vote for them so that they also give us so and so and so. So as for the government, that is NCA. We are going to hold them accountable. We're going to hold. Look, if the network operators cannot register us, we are going to hold the ministry responsible. We are going to the ministry. We have to hold government accountable. Can you imagine? Yes, go ahead. Sorry,
because the minister on Facebook, just on the issue of accountability, she says, don't blame the telcos, blame your own inaction. I mean, she's describing this as inaction, the fact that Ghanaians simply are not willing to go in for the NIA cards. What do you make of the posture of the sector minister in all of this?
I have a joke that I tell on Facebook lately, that after I graduated, I choose my words carefully. I think that...
But go ahead. You're A+, so we know you for that anyway.
It won't be like it used to, but I think that was unfortunate. You cannot be in a position and always want to blame the people. Even in football games, when a team is defeated, you see the coach, he comes and then he takes the blame. The blame must be on the minister and her ministry. We don't have to scream and use insulting words to make this very simple statement, and the minister must know this. You cannot provide people with Ghana cards. You can't provide people with voters' ID cards, but you cannot provide people with Ghana cards. And if you cannot provide people with Ghana cards, you want to blame me. I have a Ghana card. I want to register. My Ghana card cannot be validated. And you say it's my inaction. It's an unfortunate statement. And I think that the minister shouldn't be making such statements. Maybe at the point she gets emotional, maybe she's overwhelmed by the whole job that she's doing. But that is fine. She cannot blame the people. The people are right. The people are right. Except those who have their Ghana cards but have decided not to register. The stubborn academy, he must go and register. That is very bad. Let's help this country. We are here to work together to build the country. And so if you have your Ghana card, go and register. But the minister cannot blame the people. No, that is wrong.
A+, just stay with us. Let's also bring in Kwame Griffiths. He's a former NIA Executive Secretary and also Director of IT for the NDC. The minority has also held a press conference on this. We'll bring you that shortly. But for you, Kwame Griffiths, you claim that because of the rift between the Communications Ministry and the NIA, it's the reason for which we're having some of these challenges. Tell us about it.
Yes, actually, it's very clear that the two government institutions are not speaking to each other. It's quite clear. Now, but before I proceed on that, let me commend Kwame A+ for his action. I mean, I would find his number, and then try to enrich his case, or probably I don't even mind joining it personally. And I also want to associate myself with his statement that it is important that we register SIM cards. I was part of those who made the decisions that SIM cards should be registered. I was actually one of the people at the first meeting where we convinced telcos to embrace they all came with their lawyers to fight it.
Interesting.
But, at the end of the day, we try to convince them that it's important that we associate some identity with all SIM cards. But let me state that the minister cannot block any services. I mean, he has done it, but legally, that is not something that she can do. This is a blatant abuse of power. Why am I saying this? The first SIM card registration, some of us warned that it was not going to amount to anything because it has to run on a credible identification management system, and therefore the NIA should be allowed to finish its job, and then the registration can then proceed. It is only when we have a credible, unified, integrated identity management system that this SIM card registration will be successful. Because at the end of the day, when we finish, and still you can get phone calls from people saying that Masendi Sikama OCC and Fan Mami, if those SIM cards still exist in the system, then we have failed. Now, going by NIA's own statistics, NIA has indicated that they have a registrable population of 19.9 million. They have registered 16.9 million. They have issued 16.5 million cards. Sorry, they have printed 16.5 million cards. And they have distributed 15.5 million cards, 15.7 million. If you look at the gap between registered and distributed, you have 1.5 million Ghanaians who have presented themselves for NIA card but have not received it. Don't forget, the NIA said they were doing instant issuance of cards. So therefore, they have presented themselves with the hope of walking home with ID cards, but did not receive it because of failure on the part of the NIA technical system. This is just the number that we can put a figure to.
Right.
And those who also went there and couldn't get registered at all. So those 1.5 million that we can put a figure to, what do you do to such people? What are you not infringing on their rights when, through no fault of theirs, they don't have the NIA card, which is the required document to register their SIMs? Some of them have made several attempts. And if you look at the law that they are using for this SIM card registration, LI 2111. And if I may look, you may look at LI. If you can Google it, it's available on the web.
Right.
Regulation 7. It says, the title is mandatory use of national identity card, and it says a national identity card issued to the individual. You see, I was part of those who. The committee that put this law together.
Yes, and that's why I wanted to find out a bit more on that. At the time you were engaging the telcos, what considerations were you making? Because at the time you were equally issuing the NIA cards. Were you basing your hopes that we were going to be using only the Ghana card, or that there was going to be the options where people could make use of the driver license and their passports as well, just at least to ease the process? What was the consideration at the time?
Well, at the same time, we were looking at integrating all biometric systems in the country.
Okay, so the Ghana card was the ideal card.
So therefore, the Ghana card, right, which was going to be, so if you look at the LI, it tells you that, there are several services that the NIA card shall be used.
Okay.
And the wording is very clear. But as it says shall be used, which is it's mandatory that you use the Ghana card. But it also said, you know, the wording was very carefully done. It says issue to the individual. So if you have not issued it to the individual, you cannot mandate. That's something that we need to look at very carefully. Because we knew that even though we're passing the LI at that time, and the LI indicated that all financial transactions to register to vote, to register your SIM card, all services in the country, you would need the national ID card as a primary document. But because we had not issued the cards, we made sure the wording was very carefully written. Therefore, the minister at this point, where NIA by their own statistics have identified a section of Ghanaians who, through no fault of theirs, have not been issued with the NIA card, you cannot write on that law that says you must first issue. Okay,
and that's a good point you're raising. And I want to bring in A+ on this, because A+, many believe that you should rather be turning the hit onto the National Identification Authority. At least they should be blamed for not issuing the cards or not releasing them.
Yes, that's exactly what we are doing. That's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, but your actions are mostly targeted at the NCA. That's the criticism.
The National Identification Authority has not threatened to block SIM cards. They have not threatened to block SIM cards. Those threatening to block SIM cards or are blocking SIM cards now is the NCA. And therefore, we are seeking the court to injunct them from continuing that process.
Yeah, but how about also suing the NIA, at least trying to urge them to issue out the cards and to do that really fast? Because if a timeline is being put to the registration process, which is independent from what NIA does, then it appears that you cannot hold the Communications Ministry to account. You agree?
I agree, but you know, I've had a couple of such suits, and it's just like suing the highways for their inability to fix the motorway, and then you get to court, and the court will tell you that yes, they will tell the court that they have given it to contract, and it is a very long process. So we are making it very simple. We've been doing this for some time. We are making it very simple. We just want to stop the blocking of SIM cards. Once that is done, we'll take it from there.
For you, this is the same government that's relying on, for instance, the e-levy, and says that it's working towards actualizing the digital agenda. Is this a sharp contrast of what was promised?
I think that it was not like Mr. Griffiths. Is that
yes,
the right name?
Yes, precisely.
Like he said, I think that it was not well thought through. Because, like I said from the start, we are talking about revenue here. It's all on the mobile phone. Apart from the e-levy, you are getting revenue from talk tax, and then you are adding the e-levy. And so I think that common sense must be applied in this. We don't even have to go to the whole length. Common sense must be applied in this, that if you as a government, like Mr. Griffiths is saying, have not been able to issue 1.5 million people with cards, and you are going to it's just like somebody owing you 50 Ghana, and then you take a flight from here to Kumasi to go and receive 50 Ghana and come back. You are running at a loss. So the government must not wait for us to tell them that e-levy, talk tax, and all is coming from these same numbers. The government must know.
It's as though the president and the vice president, especially, who's very keen on these issues of digital transformation, have been silent. Is it the case that they are unable to just tell the minister in the face that, well, I mean, given the concerns, we feel this is what should be done? Because aside the minister, there should be some power of a sort that is way above the ministerial directives on what's happening now. Would you expect a presidential intervention, or at least the vice president making some interventions at this point?
Yeah, that would be good. But I think that we as citizens must also take some of these up. It will be good for the vice president to make some statements on this. But we should also do our part. And also, when people are put in position, they must. We don't have to always fall on the president and the vice president. The communications minister must know this. She must know that we need them to say something. However, she must know everything that we are saying. My understanding of leadership, I think that the communications minister has a bit of her leadership style can be, I want to choose my words carefully, but it can be described as a bit autocratic. I don't know where she gets that power from, but she must be talked to. You cannot be that autocratic and think that, you see, being strong does not mean being autocratic. You can always be strong. And there's something that I like about Kwame Nkrumah, and there's something I like about Nana Addo. They always look in the law. They will use the law against you. Even though sometimes I say Nana Addo, he's a diplomatic dictator. When boys meet, these are what the things say, because he is not going to say, I'm a dictator, I'm going to do what I want outside the law. But he's going to take the law, look into the same law, and use it. And it's not him as a person being a dictator, but he's using the law. And like Mr. Griffith said, the law is very simple. Issued. You have not issued, and you are blaming the same people that you have not been able to issue. So yes, the vice president can make some statements in regards to all that we are talking about. However, the minister must know better.
Is this also in line with some of the calls that at least let's have a change in the leadership at some critical sectors? The former president, for instance, talks about, John Dramani Mahama talks about some ministries that have been controlled for far too long by some ministers. Is this the time to consider a change in leadership?
There is one thing that you don't want to do with Nana Addo. You don't want to tell him what to do. If he wants to do something now, you tell him to do it now, he won't do it. So I don't like to say reshuffle, because if we continue saying reshuffle, he won't reshuffle. So, but what it is that people being at one place for a long time must even give them the experience to be able to run this properly. You have all this. You've been there for some time. Unfortunately, in our part of the world, people get too comfortable being at where they are, and that is why every 8 years we have been changing till today, and that is why we lose a lot of money in elections and all. In Dubai, they are continuing. There are people who are ready to build a country, and they've been there and they are building the country. It's so in so many countries. The democracy in England is not the same that we have here, because they want to continue in a certain direction. So it is not always about people being comfortable where they are. People must be in places. They must learn. They must be comfortable, and they must execute their duties by the experience and the wealth of experience that they've gotten from there. Unfortunately, I think that, I don't know, but like the former president is saying, most of the people we have now are not helping the president. And I don't know how you can change a striker to a defender and expect that they'll perform, unless the president is ready to sack some of his ministers. Because if somebody is not performing in a Greek ministry, or say in communications and digitization, and you move that person to housing, what does he do? So it's not about reshuffle. The president that I worked for, that I supported to become president, is not the same person that I'm seeing. I think that maybe there are certain things that we don't know. However, there are certain things that the president must be able, some people that the president must be able to remove. And a typical example is Adwoa Safo. For Nana Addo to have Adwoa Safo leaving the ministry and being somewhere for those years, or all those months, and not saying anything. That is what the ex-president is talking about. So it is very confusing. I mean, I find it difficult because I know Nana Addo very well, and I find it difficult to understand him.
What would happen, and I'm just imagining, what would happen if you go through the court process and the court disagrees with you? It's as though the fate of a lot of Ghanaians now depend on the legal action you're taking. Some others may join you later on. But what are you likely to explore if that option fails? And you're doing this, mind you, with the People's Project.
Yeah, so that is, like I said from the start, that's the avenue that we know. That's the avenue that we have. Some of us don't have godfathers in this country. Our godfathers are the ordinary people and the court, and we believe in the court. And whatever decision the court makes, we will support it, because we have to support the judiciary to grow. And so it is not we are not in a battle to see who wins, that we are going to win. That is not, we are going, the law is not in the constitution, the law is in the court. We are going to listen to what the court has to say. If the court thinks that the relief that we are seeking can't be granted, we will gladly accept it and look at what we can do next.
Kwame Griffiths, let me pick your final thoughts on this.
Well, first of all, I like to emphasize my point that I think it is not too late for the minister to eat a humble pie and then resent her decision on blocking SIMs, because she doesn't really have the power to do that. And then, like I said, I commend my brother A+ for his action. I'll try and reach out to him today and see how I can help, because both NIA and the NCA are in breach of the law. The NIA, I believe, has, I think, about 40 days or so to issue cards to those who have registered. I have to check. I was trying to do that before you came in this time. So both of them are in breach of the law. And I think that it shouldn't get this far where, we have this blatant abuse of power, in this country. I think it is unfortunate. And then I urge them, first of all, to rescind on their decision and then allow this process to end. Their introduction of the passport is also problematic. Their introduction of the application is also application itself is not working properly. But besides that, that's besides the point. I'm here to see one solution in a world that allows remote capturing of biometrics. That is only coming to dilute the good data that if you have.
You feel our data may be compromised?
Of course it will be, because there are so many ways that you can use to fool the AFIS system, the automated fingerprint identification system, when it is picked remotely. There are so many ways to do that. And the way they are doing it, contactless picking of fingerprints, it doesn't really make it, it's not supported by any of the international standards, because it is something new that is being introduced because of COVID, but it has not gotten to the point where any of the international standardized bodies are comfortable with. So I think they should be careful not to dilute the credible data that they have picked so far. Allow NIA to finish their work and then ride along with it. We are not in a hurry or have deadlines that we cannot, the nation, things will come to a standstill.
How about the 5-seaters being charged for the registration process online?
Well, that's illegal. You need parliamentary approval to charge. I don't know whether they have done that. But apart from the fact that it is illegal, let us also look at the fact that, she said she had millions of people who have not registered. You have introduced this app. What is the 5 cities paying for? Is it paying for the developers? Now, if it is paying the developers their development fee, and you have 1 million people registered, that's 5 million cities. Are we saying we are paying for a simple application for 5 million cities? See, so everything does not sound too well, with this. There's so many dimensions to this, and you know that there should be a parliamentary approval for you to be able to charge, citizens any money. Have they gone through Parliament to do that? So there are so many things wrong with what they are doing, and it looks as if there's so much rush to get something done that we don't have a deadline to, and therefore we can take our time and do it properly and make sure it is done securely.
All right. We need to wrap up. Kwame, plus 30 seconds for you. Your message to Ghanaians on this.
My message to Ghanaians is that everybody who has a Ghana card, who is not having issues, must please register their SIM cards with their Ghana card. Support the ministry to get this done, because if we can identify criminals in the system, we need to, if we will be able to identify criminals in the system, we need to know who is using which card. And it is very important. It will help us. It is in our own interest. So please go and get registered. Those of you who have not received your Ghana cards, kindly do a bit of legwork and go and get it done. But we on the other side, myself, Mr. Griffiths, and all other people will also ensure that until you get it, your SIM cards will be blocked.
Anyway, wait to see what then will happen in court. But I'm grateful, Kwame A. Platts, high-life musician and political activist, joining us, and also Kwame Griffiths, former executive secretary for the NIA and director of IT for the National Democratic Congress. Thank you for your time here on The Pulse. Well, there's more on the SIM card registration because the minority in Parliament has also been reacting to matters. ABF Hussaini, who's ranking on the Communications Committee, addressed the press earlier today, and meanwhile the deputy ranking member also on communications, Samuel Nete George, has also questioned the procurement process itself of the registration app which we were talking about earlier. Listen.
And I can say without any iota of doubt that within the last yesterday and today, the country has been hot and awash with complaints. I can say without any doubt that even a member of our committee, a committee on communications, who registered here, has had her SIM blocked in Parliament. So if they can pluck feathers from a tortoise, what would they do when they get a fowl? Ladies and gentlemen, we also take judicious notice of the fact that some of these measures promised by the NCA to help speed up the SIM registration process, including the unveiling of the app to facilitate the process, have not only been late in coming, but they have also had attached to them fees. Those who wish to patronize it are supposed to pay. This obviously will impact adversely on the ability of SIM card users not only to meet the deadline, but to even meet the cost before they can get their SIMs processed. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, this has caused widespread anxiety and indeed anguish and protest from many sections of our society. The NDC minority members on the Communications Committee regard the denial of the right to make calls and even interference in receiving calls through unsolicited messaging systems as unfair, unjust, an unwarranted breach of the fundamental human rights and freedoms of our people, including the rights of freedom of expression and to own and enjoy property. It is an uncontested fact that the Communications Ministry has no influence whatsoever on the issuance of the Ghana card, which the Ministry of Communications had designated as the sole identity document, decisive for the purposes of patronizing the SIM registration exercise. The NIA also outlined a series of financial challenges that contribute to delays in the issuance of the Ghana card. The NIA, including its briefing to members of Parliament on the floor of the House, has made it abundantly clear that it does not work at the behest of any institution. Neither does it carry out its work of issuing Ghana cards with the deadline of any institutions in mind. Indeed, in the briefing given to members of Parliament, Honorable Kenneth Tifwa, the Director General of the NIA, and subsequently his lieutenants, including his directors who came before the House, made it clear that they have their own timetable they are working on. They are not working under the instructions of any other institution of state. And that if any institution has its own deadlines, they are their deadlines. It has no effect whatsoever on the workings of the NIA. And so they are not minded by anybody's difficulties to influence the pace at which they will issue their cards. So we are saying that, therefore, designating the Ghana card as the sole identity document in this re-registration exercise, a matter the Ministry of Communications has absolutely no control over, as we have said, is a recipe for failure with grave challenges and consequences for the ordinary Ghanaian.
Minister is quick to want to enforce sanctions on Ghanaians by deadlines. The minister herself set a deadline for herself. She said by the 2nd of August, there will be a self-registration app. She failed to meet that deadline. She failed by 24 days. The app was launched on the 26th of August. When it was launched on the 26th of August, today is the 9th of September. The app is still not uploaded on the Apple Play Store. So if you use an Apple product, you cannot download the app. It is only available on Android, the Google Play Store. So who is punishing her? What is the punishment for her not meeting her own deadline? And even on the Apple Play Store, on the Google Play Store, when you download the app and pay the money, you are unable to complete the registration. So when you speak today about longer queues at the telcos, it is not people who are now trying to register their SIM cards. It is people who have registered their SIM cards, like the former secretary, who have complied with the directive, but now have their SIM cards blocked, that now have to go back again to the telcos. And this is why we've said from the onset, if the minister had listened to stakeholders, and you ask what the telcos are asking for, as we speak, all the telcos have done integration and synchronization of their databases with the NIA. So MTN does not need Sam George to come to MTN to verify that Sam George is the holder of my SIM card. They don't. Because MTN has that database. Don't forget, there is no SIM card in this country that wasn't registered post-2010. Whether it was registered correctly or wrongly, it is registered. So if the minister was open to the advice of the technical community, what was advised was very simple. Do not put this burden on the users. Put it on the telcos. Let MTN go with Sam George. And I'm using myself as an example. You would have had smaller queues at the Ghana card, the NIA offices and at the telcos, because it would have been a very small section of the society that would have to go to those places. Why? Honorable ABA Fuseni has a Ghana card. In registering for his Ghana card, one of the details they take in registering for a Ghana card is your phone number. So they have his phone number on the Ghana card database. They have his biometrics on the Ghana card database. When he registered for his SIM card in 2010, he used his passport to register his SIM card in 2010. So MTN has that same number that Ghana card has, but has it with the passport. Now don't forget, in getting his passport, the passport office also took his biometrics. The passport office has integrated its database with the NIA. So ABA Fuseni has no business going to NIA or going to any passport, any telco office. MTN will run the passport details that they have on their database against the Ghana card database. If the fingerprints on the passport records that he used to register matches the fingerprint records when he did his Ghana card, his SIM card would automatically be linked to his Ghana card without him showing up. Yeah. Now, come to Sam George. Sam George doesn't have a Ghana card. So Ghana card has no record of Sam George. So but Sam George registered with his passport. So when MTN tries to do that synchronization of Sam George's SIM card, the NIA database will say, no record found. So Sam George would then receive a text message from his telco asking him to come with a Ghana card to verify the passport he used to register. There are fewer people who would then be showing up at the NIA office to go and get a card, to go and complete their process. In the instance where Sam George's SIM card was registered fraudulently by somebody else, but Sam George has himself gone to the NIA to do proper registration, when that data is matched against the NIA database, it will show that the biometrics are different. So that person will also get a message saying the biometrics do not match. So bring us the Ghana card now for us to match on the telco database and know that you are one and the same. This would have been a seamless process that you would have had no questions and seen no queues about. This is how SNIT did their integration. That's why you did not see pensioners and SNIT payers queuing up at SNIT offices. This is how DVLA did their integration. That's why you didn't see trotro drivers and private drivers queuing up at DVLA offices. The reason why the NCA is going through this route is because the Minister for Communication wanted to procure an app and not use the NIA's own integration app. So the media must begin to ask, since you are also suffering the consequences, begin to ask the minister what are the details and terms of the procurement she did of that app. Why is she not using the NIA's seamless integration app? Why is she buying her own app? She will tell you it's for free if you ask the questions, but the use of the app is not for free. People are not able to use the app, but their money is being taken. Where is that money being sent? These are questions we must begin to ask of the minister. And like my people say, this one is not from Rankin's place, it's from Ningo. Fish that smells, we use hot pepper. Nama no, yedi meko show and a day.
Thank you very much.
Well, there's more on this from the Ashanti region because displeased mobile telephone subscribers in Kumasi have masked up at the premises of the telecommunication service providers to have their grievances addressed. The subscribers say they're experiencing interruptions with their phone services, although they've gone through the same registration process. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku has been monitoring that and reports now from Kumasi.
So I have some of these aggrieved customers here with me. We'll be finding out more what's the duration they've been in this queue for, and then what are generally their concerns. It's mame obahabe tambe.
Bahabe sabi mu wanambai. Abetana da. You register big bay, you know, ba almost networking. Yes, I so only be found my and already annoyed yentimi. Aden. My address, my bread, Ghana for be peer this, my address.
Neden afin or what train afin be?
As Yadikaya, oh yeah, no, oh boy, you know, no, mamma, you said, 1 year, 7 and qualify. No, as Africa, no, Abba, what you could ask, no, Africa, but I take, no, Abba, a one way, you be any, this about tech. Shall all found be free Kubasi free about tech, Ababe. Free our no Quebec, 12 cities, no Ababe, our tech, Ade, among my bread, among you be found my.
So she's been telling me she has been coming here on several occasions just because her SIM card has not been registered. She's been here, whenever she comes here, she's been told the network is jammed. So she has to go back home and then come back another time. She's been traveling a longer distance to this particular destination. That is the Susanso MTN branch. We'll be speaking or engaging with some of these aggrieved customers to find out more from them.
I mean, when I did me, I didn't poke around me, quite sky on my phone. So, Nama Quacote, you know, Musi Aburokula, you know. Ya friend, quite friend, when I see Emfa, Yambira, and I see Yambira name Beshe. Yadura say nipa ya masa mi hunu mi hu mi mpokura eti said your muya ni so mo anya ni yo so say muya ya yarefo mi hunu hwi kasi kan pokura mi bo busi eti say mi sika ni nyina agufo.
Okay, so this is actually a blind woman I'll be speaking to. She says she has actually registered her SIM card, but unfortunately the SIM card has been blocked. She's been here for almost an hour or two.
As one person be saying paying for the say, I'm pay a cockroach. Edia Jessica, Esha Mubotum. I want to be the 1 month. Already started stay regions. And so a brass a Ghana card now, yeah, Ghana card, boy, no. But what to me within 1 month. I already said the whole 16 regions. I'm about to, yeah, the Cokromoti, Echo Team. I'm a 1 year schedule, good bottom. HS Gracia 4 years. And if you're my near Bremaye.
She's been saying that the government actually took a month to do registration, to compile the voters register. But when it came to the Ghana card, it's taken a longer period before they can actually do this registration, especially with the Ghana card. So they are hoping that the government does something about it. I also have this lady with me. Generally, what are your concerns? What time did you come here?
Mesimu 5. Mananti fitimena ababedru hase. Midi kind by maybe my blocking like my saba was a network. I didn't know network. I didn't. It was Menanti free mena babedru. I say I was some of your mamma coffee that I didn't.
Then the one register up in
Medic have registered on my son blocking.
She says that she has registered and unfortunately the SIM card has also been blocked.
kabibi anka sa biometric ne yakoye for Ghana card no enka hu nya kra say sa sim card ya linki yesa koye biometric biem because only so Ghana card bo code na informations na ye dey eba etimi hu the essence of sa adie we ya yesa koye biometric yesa ko twa picture fine won see ye be ye ya ye na say mini issue bia biem with MTN it is a more massa for a block me sim ne dia na say free me say mistake be by ya e your more staff no more appointed here no and am say mistake na ba it is said here ye ko borrow sika omuti interest na omu say ye business no omu so am ya lose sika it was here see MTN or court
because their SIM card, they had already registered their SIM card and have been blocked for unknown reasons. They want to sue the telco providers. So these aggrieved customers are calling on the government and the NCA and even the telecommunication providers to expedite processes to have their concerns resolved. From here at Susanso in Kumasi, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
So that's the situation in the Ashanti region. Where are you now and what's your experience? Share that with us, 0302-211-691 and 692, the phone lines. I'm just doing that to find out the sense out there and what your frustrations are. Share them with us and perhaps you may also have a solution out there so you could profile that. I will roll the numbers on your screens so you can be a part of our show today. I'm giving you the opportunity, 0302-211-691 or 692. I will be happy to hear from you on this. You've heard from the minority. You heard also from the ranking on the Committee of Communications in Parliament. And then we're learning of that legal suit as well, which may be taking off in a few days. The Institute, as we know it, Imani Africa, is also intending to do a class action on that. So a lot of legal concerns emerging in the coming days. Let me hear from Ernest. Ernest is joining us from Takoradi. Ernest, share your concerns with us.
I'm in Takoradi at the moment. Then yesterday I went to the MTN office to try and register my card. Re-register my SIM card again with the telco because I've done the registration already. And then it didn't go through. Now they are blocking all my SIM. I want to know what is the government doing about, what is the minister doing about all this, like I've registered already. So how come my SIM is blocked again? You just don't understand what is going on in this country. Like, because you're a minister, you just come out and just say, I want to do this, and they do it. What is all this?
Okay, Ernest from Tardi there. Daniel is somewhere around South Senchi. Daniel?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Daniel.
Please, it happened that most of us registered our SIM card, but our lines have been blocked. Moreover, one thing the media is not doing that is helping us is that NIA is the only mandated institution that is mandated to take our fingerprints or biometrics. Now, the Minister of Communication has asked another third party to take our fingerprints and biometrics. What are they using our biometrics for? And who is keeping those data of all those that have taken their biometrics? This is appalling and it's disturbing. When you come to the area where we are, Timbuktu is the only available MTN office closer to us. And when you go there, you see 70% of people that has registered their SIM card and they've completed the process, but their SIMs have been blocked. We are unable to make calls, do our business normally. This is bad. When the minister is speaking, she said, to be forewarned is to be forearmed.
Interesting caution there. Thank you, Daniel. Ben is also joining us from New Achimota. Ben?
Yeah, hello. Good evening.
Yes, Ben, let's have your thoughts on this.
Yeah, please, sir. For me, my card, everything is done, but the problem I'm having now is since that thing has been done, the internet that I'm using is not all that strong. I don't know whether they are trying to prevent me from browsing on the internet or not. And also, I can't receive any call unless I make call. The second issue is my friend, a female friend of mine, let me say my girlfriend, her SIM card has been blocked. She cannot make any calls, but she can also receive a call. She is having a Ghana card, but anytime I link the Ghana card to the SIM card, it is not successful. She has been going to the MTN site for several times, but yet still, the problem cannot be solved. And here's the case, the SIM card has been blocked. So is it her fault or whose fault?
Anyway,
is it her fault or, like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm also lost, just as you, Ben, on this, because we're still not having any official communication on this. The NCA would not make public some of these details. So we'll still wait on the NCA to come up with more explanations on this. John is also joining us from Ashaiman. John?
Yeah, good afternoon. Please, you see, our leaders are so wicked, though. Hello?
John, I'm with you.
Our leaders are so wicked that how come 2020, where there was COVID, you were able to do a voter's ID card? Hello?
John, go ahead. I can.
Yeah, you were able to do a voter's ID card for a national, election. This one, NIA has started this thing for how many years now? So today, how come, you see this woman, communication minister, she's very arrogant. She's arrogant. She's abusing her power. I don't know if there is no one to talk to her. That's what she's doing. She's being so arrogant. Look, last week I have to travel all the way to Porta region to go and register a new SIM card for my old lady. What is that? She's suffering.
Yeah, anyway, I get your concern. Rashid is joining us from Kumasi. Rashid, were you part of those we gave a report on earlier? It appears Kumasi is also facing the same problems, just like Accra.
Yes, please. I've been there several times, but I couldn't get my SIM registered. Well, I've done it in the Eastern region already.
Yes, go ahead, Rashid.
Yeah. So I don't actually know this administration, they are fooling us in this country because I've never seen it anywhere. How come anyone will just get up, he's having a position, she just get up and do whatever she likes? And they are forgetting that it's we, the people, who send them to power. But they came and they mixed up things. We don't really understand what kind of administration we are on. We don't really understand them. But what we favor them, that's what they are doing. But they don't think about the citizen of this country. What they are doing is totally wrong.
Rashid there. Let's see if we have space for one more call. And for those of you who are watching us, unfortunately, we are unable to pick any more of your calls, but we're grateful for the feedback on this. We're still awaiting some official communications on this from the sector minister and the agencies. The NCA is also, I believe, some officials watching us now. It will be helpful if we can get some assistance on this. You're still with us here on the Pulse on the JoyNews channel. We'll be back after this break. And you're welcome back. All official flags of Ghana will fly at half-mast by within the next 7 days. That's the instruction of President Akufo-Addo in honor of Queen Elizabeth II, as tributes continue to pour in for the late English monarch. Earlier, and a couple of hours back, the president posted on his Facebook page actually indicating this very directive and commiserating with the royal family. It reads that on behalf of the government and the people of Ghana, I extend deepest condolences to the new British monarch, King Charles III, the royal family, the Prime Minister, and the government and the people of Great Britain on the death today. That was yesterday, actually, of Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II, late Queen of the United Kingdom, of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and the head of the Commonwealth of Nations. The Ghanaian people have, for a very long time, had fond memories of the two visits she made to Ghana during her reign. On both occasions. We remember the friendliness, elegance, style, and shared joy she brought to the performance of her duties. Now, as head of the Commonwealth of Nations, she superintended over the dramatic transformation of the Union and steered it to pay greater attention to our shared values and better governance. She was the rock that kept the organization steady and true to its positive beliefs. We shall miss her inspiring presence and her calm, her steadiness, and above all, her great love and belief in the higher purpose of the Commonwealth of Nations and its capacity to be a force for good in the world. The President continues to say that she was a cherished and revered monarch of the British people, the longest serving in their history, who will be sorely missed. We are saddened by her departure. In honor of the memory, I have directed that all official flags in the nation fly at half-mast for 7 days as from tomorrow, Friday, the 9th of September. And may God bless her soul and give her a peaceful rest in the bosom of the Lord until the last day of the resurrection, when we shall all meet again. So, except of the directive from the President. Just yesterday as well, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom also addressed the press on this matter. So we'll definitely bring that to you later on, but still talking about the President, he's described as unfortunate and condemnable the upsurge in attacks on educational facilities, especially those in West Africa, as he rallies international support to end it. United National Education and Scientific Organization, UNESCO report says over 5,000 reported attacks on education in the last 2 years took place in West Africa. At a conference to end the menace in France, the President says his government has invested in safe educational environment to enhance teaching and learning. He proposes some measures to actually end this practice. Would also try as much as possible to get that for you later on, but the Konongo police, as we speak, are investigating the gruesome murder of a teenage girl at the premises of a primary school in the town. Now, the body of Regina Safo, 15, was found yesterday with deep knife wounds to the stomach and sticks forced deep into her mouth. Police will not speak on the circumstances, but sources say 3 suspects who voluntarily went to the police are assisting with investigations. Lava FM's Erastus Cesare Donko was at the scene and now reports.
So this is the Methodist Primary School, and this place is called Ward 6 in Konongo. This place looks very dark in the night, and from eyewitness accounts, there have been a series of attacks from young people who smoke weed within this particular area. Where I'm standing now is a crime scene, and in front of me is a pool of blood, suspected to be that of the young lady who was murdered yesterday. Now, from eyewitness accounts, when they found her about just a walking distance down this area to that end. But the pool of blood here, according to eyewitnesses, signifies that the struggle might have started here. She might have been murdered here before she was dragged over to the other side and dumped over there.
Oh, there one name there. Tell me, baby, and my own say 20 baby. But in Niano, and as a
So he's telling me that they were sharpened wood, pieces of wood, stuck into her throat through the mouth, stuck in there like that. That's how they found the body.
The gruesome murder of Regina Safo has increased fears among residents of Ward 6 who recount recent happenings there. This place has become scary these days. They snatch people's phones and rape women here. It is because of these crimes that we cut down the trees here and installed lights. Last time, a lady was nearly raped, if not for a good Samaritan who intervened.
Madam Fubi, ebe pie no so ne mamu abi. Senya madam fo no anko no so omtweni she school mu o ma omoye no pasa.
Police have begun investigations, taking over the crime scene. They will not immediately speak to the press, but sources say they've arrested 3 people who are assisting with investigations. Reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asaridonko, Konongo, Ashanti region.
Well, let's get more on this. Erastus Asaridonko is joining us via Zoom now. Erastus, what more are we gathering on this story? Erastus, you would have to unmute.
We are learning. Yeah, we are learning from the police that 3 people have been arrested and they are currently assisting in investigations. The body has been deposited at a mortuary close to Konongo, and police are combing further to get more arrests. We are learning also from our sources that these 3 people places, but some other people are also involved, and there is a search for these people as well. So the whole incident has thrown the community into a state of shock. The father of the girl, I learned, is also helping police in their investigations as well. So that is what we know for now.
How about the police, and why are they refusing to comment on the matter?
Well, I think subsequently the police have come out with a press release indicating the number of arrests that they've made, 3 people so far. The age of the girl, which the police gives as 15. Her name, Regina Safo, as well. And they have been given details of where their investigations have led so far. But they also indicate that they are still conducting investigations, and in due time they will be briefing the public on it.
So for the community and residents, what sense do you get from them in terms of their safety? Obviously, we do not know what actually is the cause of this murder. They must be concerned, right?
Exactly. The community, many of the residents have been talking about insecurity in the area. They also say that they might need the whole place to be lit up in terms of provision of street lights, so that it will prevent, people who commit these crimes in that area. They have been talking about rapes in that particular school. It's a Methodist primary school, a bit separate. There are trees and other things, shrubs leading into the local water source in that area already. And so they tell me that in the evening they have people who smoke weed within that particular enclave, and they engage in phone snatching activities and other things. They will need security to be beefed up, and they also will need that street lighting will be provided for that area to reduce the incidence of people committing such crimes in future.
And I'm not too sure if that was a school, but if it is, how about the academic activities on campus?
Well, currently the students are on recess, they are on vacation, so they will be opening next week. So there is no activity in that particular school. but the incident happened in the night, and so you could see that in front of one of the classrooms, you could see the pool of blood leading to where she was found. It also looks to what residents have been talking about concerning rape incidents in that particular area. When you look at how she was found half naked. She wasn't wearing anything in her lower parts. They forcibly tried to poke sticks in her mouth, and so you could see that they forcibly pulled sticks into the mouth in there, leading to a lot of bleeding from the upper part and some knife wounds as well to the abdomen. So it looks like they tried raping her, and there was a struggle and all that, which in fact investigations could lead in future to that. So we wait what the police investigations will unravel. But then local people talk about rape, and they think that security should be beefed up to prevent these incidents.
Okay, we'll keep our eyes on that. Erastus Donko joining us, a patient-centered non-governmental organization, is leading a campaign to bring justice to victims of medical negligence in Ghana. According to the Advocacy for Medical Malpractice Victims, it has actually recorded some 60% success in medical negligence suits brought against health facilities and medical staff. This comes as the Ashanti Regional Health Directorate is actually battling rising cases of lawsuits against health facilities and their medical staff. For humanitarian of our health desk has been looking at the work of this organization and how patients are assessing their services. There's more in this report.
Advocacy for Medical Malpractice Victims is made up of lawyers, doctors and other health professionals. It has been championing justice for medical malpractice victims through the payment of compensation, promotion of high competence among healthcare givers, among others. It receives and investigates between 25 and 30 cases of alleged medical negligence nationwide every week. Executive Secretary Kwame Brobe Apia says the organization is overwhelmed by the rising cases of medical malpractice. His organization has a 60% success rate of reported but investigated cases.
The incidence of medical negligence, so far as organization is concerned, is on the high. On the average, we have a minimum of 25 to 30 cases coming through. And we listen to the narratives of these patients, assess the complaints they come with, and then we're able to make a determination as to what to do to help them seek compensation or to seek justice. So with respect to the high number of cases coming up and then the huge amounts paid as compensations, I think it's as a result of the awakening that has come to bear now, because patients are getting empowered by the day. They are getting to know their rights as they also want to exercise their responsibilities. And I think the more we keep on this trajectory, the health sector would set up and then do the needful.
The work of Mr. Apia's organization appears to be impacting negatively on the Ghana Health Service, as huge sums of money are doled out in compensations to victims of medical negligence.
We have been very successful. I can say that on the average, maybe 55 to 60%. So we've been successful, and others too have been settled out of court. Sometimes when you approach the health facilities, they admit that they have been at fault, and so then they would want to compensate the patient. There was one case that we worked on that the facility was a private facility. They actually paid something close to about 400,000 Ghana cedis. Well, in that case, it involved a little girl that had gone to the hospital, and they did a surgery that went wrong, and then eventually the child couldn't do anything again in terms of mobility. She could not move, she could not see, she could not hear, more or less like a vegetable. So it was quite a severe case, and that necessitated a settlement out of court. We have cases in court in about 6-7 regions.
Ashanti Regional Health Director Dr. Emmanuel Kojotinkran wants attitudinal change to curb growing cases of legal suits against the directorate.
Past 2 months, I've been on a crusade, visiting all the health centers, trying to see how best we can address the attitude of health workers as far as their work ethics is concerned. And Cecilia will tell you, we were also health workers, we were all in public health in a government institution, and the way we were doing our work is quite different from the health workers we see today. There was a lot of commitment, a lot of hard work, and a lot of right attitude. But you don't see it this time like that. So sometimes I'm saddened, because recently we've had a lot of legal cases. People are not happy because of the services that we've rendered to them, and then they go to court. And then if you are not lucky, they will put judgment debt on the hospital.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Oimenteria reporting.
So let's check out what's happening elsewhere. The European Union, as we understand, its energy crisis is drawing nearer. Actually, price shocks and supply shortages are leading national and EU officials to take steps they have never thought they would have to take. So let's get more on this, on what's happening in Germany and its partners as they face some issues. Let's cross over now to William Glucroft. He's a reporter with DW in Berlin. So, William, what are the most recent preparations there?
Well, the fact that a party like the Greens have gone back on so many of their commitments to clean energy and doing away with coal, gas, and nuclear is really an indication of just how serious of a situation this is, about the need to secure energy going into the winter. In France, for example, there's already warnings of power outages when there might be a scarcity of power, and that's what they're trying to avoid happening in Germany as well.
On the issue of nuclear energy in Germany, for instance, why has this been such a difficult decision?
Well, the Greens especially have been behind an anti-nuclear movement for decades. There's a strong anti-nuclear movement sentiment here in Germany. They've been pushing for it, environmentalists and others, and it really has been a rock-solid piece of policy in Germany that Germany would do away with nuclear power. Even since the Russian invasion of Ukraine earlier this year, when coal and gas started to come back online, which are also big no-nos for the environmentalists and for the Green Party that's in power, nuclear was still a no-go. It was still a red line. It was still what the Green Party was pushing back against. And this is something, the last domino, so to speak, that's fallen now in terms of Germany meeting its energy needs going into the winter.
And are you able to share the details with us of just how grave the situation looks to these officials and the public as well?
Well, the fact that a party like the Greens have gone back on so many of their commitments to clean energy and doing away with coal, gas, and nuclear is really an indication of just how serious of a situation this is, about the need to secure energy going into the winter. In France, for example, there's already warnings of power outages when there might be a scarcity of power, and that's what they're trying to avoid happening in Germany as well.
Anyway, I would have to leave it there. William Glucroft with our partners, DW. This is the Pulse on the JoyNews channel. We'll be back shortly. And that's all we have for you this week. Make a day to that next week here on the Pulse. I'm Blessed Sogah. Do log on to myjoyonline.com.